Yeah, this experience I had just last night, and I typed it out. I'll read it as I wrote it here. It says, in this experience, I would find myself in a well-lit area, devoid of background such as scenery or a city. And in front of me would be a row of people, all positioned in common body language ways for social situations, such as handshakes, hugs, chit chat, etc. I would be standing before these people, and with the lack of scenery or distraction came a perception, something fine like mist, really even finer than that this thing was almost unnoticeable. But again, due to the setup and with the real guidance, was I being shown this one unknown and unseen element that affects the masses within creation? And it was the influence. I have confronted aspects of this before in various forms, typically female, but here in this scene would it almost carry its own indifference. No body type, no gender, or any relatable form of expression, just as an unseen force that would jump from person to person in this row and seemingly take over their consciousness. That each person had their own kind of glow, but once consumed by this one influence, they dimmed substantially as if their awareness was pushed back out of the body, giving host to this created influence. I could see also that there was a type of unconsciousness with the influence as well, like autopilot. It was simply doing what it had been decided to be and carried on aimlessly, fulfilling the various roles others have set out for it, but none of its own will, as it seemed to lack the recognition of its ability to decide, and so carried on as this unconscious force. And that was my short little experience, but it was very good. I saw it. It was very, very good.
Yes, it is very good. It gives you this view, Jeremy. Yeah, that was my recognition of it, especially during the Rod of Power in 2001. That all of a sudden it was right there, right in front of me, and it's so funny the experience. I basically recognized it immediately, as Paul had written about the two-headed God. Well, all of a sudden, yeah, here's the influence behind it all, even behind the Callum God that he doesn't fully realize, etc., because of the created consciousness. Otherwise, things wouldn't be happening. And so this is the real interesting challenge, too, that I've also had, like I wrote in the books, of this seduction factor, because the influence can only exist because of the created consciousness, otherwise it doesn't exist, and how the consciousness is accordingly. So as each person, and we, whatever, step up bravely and take part in being the risk taker, as opposed to being attached and unconscious with personal agreements, well, this influence then tends to have its own considerations, you might say. Not that it's going to change sides, but accordingly, how, just like redirecting a river. The river flows one way, but you start digging off the sides and you redirect the river. And so this is the idea here, is that, creatively each person decides to play their part to help redirect what's taking place here. And as such, the influence, adapts accordingly. And so it's just very, very real. The main part here is that we've gone through is that we've agreed to authorities. And look at the birds; they don't agree to any authorities, and they fly wherever they want. That's very real. They're very aware, more aware than people are. People create restrictions, and this is okay once we wake up from this and realize we don't need authorities and we don't need restrictions. So it's getting away, it's having to deal with it, but not agreeing to the restrictions. There's a difference. So as long as people agree to the restrictions, the influence will be accordingly. That's just how it is. And so now we're telling the world, people here in the world, that you are the decider. And you can decide to be okay and be as life is. And that's very real. And what is created in creation is whatever, but it can be a real benefit once a real agreement with what makes sense takes place. But there's too many people agreeing to distortion and authorities, to be controlled and wanting to control others and not waking up to that. Those that control others, they themselves are bored, and they themselves are controlled themselves, and they don't see that. And because they lack the awareness of what's real, well, all they have for themselves, otherwise it's a lonely, lonely life, and that is to control others. And this is how it is. And so I've seen this, and here's Kelsey, and I've seen many others, and I've had relationships and etc., family, that I see that their whole thing, and they can be and look successful, but it's all about control. It really is, and they just don't see it, and they don't want to give up the control for something better. And so again, this is the journey. This is where it gets very, very real and gets a lot better, but you have to learn to see it. Yes. And how many see the influence? How many will face this reality? The influence is fine. The influence is whatever it is. It's like the rain falling. These things happen. And so again, we face it, we deal with it. If there becomes a flood or whatever, we deal with it. We survive in some way, yes. And so again, all life is awareness. And we have been taught that it's authorities, that it's something created, some kind of consciousness or whatever. This is what we have come to know in the so-called spiritual past. And they had their day, but no more. It's all done. It's nothing. History means nothing, only as a reference to something dull and boring that we've went through, because all life is real, and it is now, and it is complete. And so it only makes sense that we decide to be as life is, instead of constantly creating a consciousness that just involves just being confused. Where does that make sense? But anyhow, we've come to this point, and that's the new presentation. And yeah, in this world of confusion and distraction and deception and everything else, doesn't seem to make sense, because there's just too many people agreeing to the created nonsense of authorities and wanting to be an authority, etc. Yeah, this is why people chase money, because they want to be part of the authorities to control others, because the monetary system is all about control. But at the same time, just like our car, we can use it while we're here. We play the game as a tool. Yes, Jeremy, thank you so much. Yes, it's very important, I see, to understand the influence and that part with us. And yes, we are influenced. I am too. I deal with it. I face it. And it's okay. And there's a lot to learn from this, because this is what exists now. And so it's all okay. Every moment now is okay. And each person can decide to see better, see more. Yeah, and those that, are acting funny and doing funny things, well, they're just not willing to give up the control. They want to control others because they themselves are out of control. And until they give up the control, they're going to be out of control. That's just how it is. Just like, again, it's like taxes in the IRS. The government doesn't need the money. They've gotten people to think that it does. No, they create the money. So, they create it out of nothing. It's not about the money they need. They want the control. They want people to be intimidated to think that they need to look to the authorities, to pay them, to bow and kneel, to get their answers from them, etc. That's what it's all about. Everything created in the social structure is about control, the business world, etc. It's not about doing better or having happier times. It's about control. That's it, 100%. Again, do the birds do it? No, and they're fine, and they just fly wherever they want, without restrictions, without looking to authorities or rules. But who pays attention to that? And so again, the sun is the best reference to what is real. The sun shining. We are not sun worshipers. We do not stare into the sun and all these ideas that unaware people come up with because they're confused with the authorities they look to that tell them funny things. Yes, wake up, be aware, or stay the effects of whatever. But you have to be a risk taker. You have to step up. You have to face it all. You have to do it now. See, again, everything is okay once we understand what's going on. And yeah, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy or there's going to be some kind of miracle taking place. No, we don't look for miracles. We're not interested in hocus pocus. We want to learn to see what's real. And just by letting go, and whatever happens with the free will in creation, yeah, we have to deal with it. We adjust accordingly. But yes, this helps us become more aware and see what's going on for ourselves so that we're motivated to see what is real. So again, all the restrictions, all the whatever that we've known, it's all okay because it's a new moment now and all life is. And so with the personal part of ourselves, the five bodies, we deal with it. Yes, of course, we deal with it. But we look to our awareness to see that it's okay. We'll get through it. But again, everything is okay as we face it, and we'll have a better understanding, and we'll do better. Just like now, look at all we've been through. All the funny stuff that's taken place with the Skypes for years. And here we are right now, and we're okay, aren't we? And we're doing better.